Dude. I guess popcorn was done with this conversation. I wish the world could just calm down a bit. Hey everybody, this is Coby here, back again at you. Today I wanted to talk about something that was kind of specific. It's this thing that's been talked about a ton on Tumblr and different social medias I'm on, and I have an opinion on it, but I'm always super awkward, even online. Even right now I'm awkward, it's just how I am. And I just want to address it because even though I don't have a lot of people that watch my videos right now, there could be a day when someone watches this and it could help explain some things, and I want to address it. This is my channel. I can do whatever I want within reason. The first thing I wanted to talk about today would be dysphoria. The second thing I want to talk about is euphoria. And the third thing I want to talk about is a little broader. It's about what it means to be trans. So, first of all, dysphoria, gender dysphoria. There's a couple kinds of dysphoria, which is social dysphoria, how people treat you, how people see you, physical dysphoria, which is basically just, you know, your body, the most talked about kind of dysphoria, and then the third kind is mental or emotional dysphoria, which is how you see yourself. It's a little bit different from body dysphoria because, when you've just, discovered or accepted that you're trans, you might think about yourself in, a way that you don't want to. With me being AFAB, I will think about myself in the third person using my wrong pronouns or my dead name or just these generally feminine things, and, I haven't started hormones yet, so there's all these different things that, get to me in here and make it really hard to even think about the things out here or out here. And so those are the kinds of dysphoria, and there's been a lot of debate, this is what I was talking about, with if someone needs dysphoria to be trans. I'm going to get to that a little bit later in the video because I want to touch on gender euphoria first. Most people know what euphoria is. It's just elation, happiness, just feeling good, just feeling upbeat, just you're good, man, you're good with this. And so with gender euphoria, it is the exact opposite of gender dysphoria, where dysphoria you feel wrong and not okay and upset about it. With gender euphoria, that happens when you're correctly gendered, people use the right pronouns, people use the right names, when you think about yourself in the correct gender, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, that's me, instead of that's a girl or that's a boy. Seeing yourself and being seen and feeling like yourself, which is really great, and it's a very good feeling, but I feel like it is part of the trans experience that is not mentioned quite often. And that's where we get to my third point today, is what it means to be trans. Putting it simply, a transgender person is a person that does not feel or connect or relate or accept the gender they were assigned at birth. It can be a trans man, it can be a trans woman, it can be someone between genders, it can be someone off the binary scale entirely. It just means that if you are born and assigned female at birth, you do not relate to that completely. And not everyone wants to be labeled trans if they're non-binary or something, or there's other medical things going on. I don't know a lot about that, but basically, that is it. That's it. It's not about hating yourself, it's not about hating your body, it's not about how you were raised, it's not about what secret motivations, how did your father treat you, what are your siblings' genders and assigned genders at birth, what are your cousins, what are you blah 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 blah. It has nothing to do with anything but how the person feels. And that needs to be put very clearly before I continue this. So there has been a big debate on Tumblr, and that's my main social media, so that's mostly what I've seen, about needing dysphoria to be trans. You don't. You don't need dysphoria to be trans. I'm sorry. Dysphoria is the active disliking of, your assigned gender, or the gender you were, or the gender you presented as, or whatever. It's just not liking it actively, in your head. It's the feeling of, this is wrong, that's wrong. Gender euphoria is another big part of being trans. You don't need to hate your assigned gender to be trans. You just need to feel better with your actual gender. And that was a big turning point, finding that out for me. Some of you, if you've been watching these videos, you might know how I went from not really sure about what the heck gender is to being a trans guy, or as I'm like labeling myself as recently, transmasculine, because I'm like, I don't know, gender's weird. Basically, as soon as I like allowed myself to entertain the idea that maybe I'm trans, I was terrified. But I'd heard of being non-binary, and for some reason, being non-binary was less scary to me than being a full trans person. I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know what I was doing in my head, but I decided, okay, I'm not a girl, I'm not a woman, I won't use she or her pronouns. I won't present femininely. I'll wear binders, I'll start getting my t-shirts back and getting more button-ups and just being myself more. And I gave myself tons of different labels about like I had demi-girl, non-binary, agender, different things that I went through in a couple months, and I was just not sure about anything, and it really wasn't helping my mental state. But I knew, because of dysphoria that I had sometimes, that I wasn't a girl. But then, someone that I'd met referred to me using he, him pronouns. And this is where the euphoria comes in. Because I'd been fine saying, yeah, sure, they, them works for me, because I was nervous to even try to breach the other side of the spectrum, which is basically just a giant mass of question marks. But they used he, him pronouns for me, and it completely changed how I looked at myself, because I felt gender euphoric. I felt like, heck yeah, man, that's who I am, deal with it. But what about my label? What about the label I'd introduced myself on this YouTube channel as? What about the label I had given my girlfriend? What about the label I'd given my sister? What is going to happen when I say, just kidding, I'm actually this? No, what happened? I felt more comfortable with myself. I felt more comfortable with myself. I felt more comfortable with myself here on this channel talking to you. I felt more comfortable with myself when my sister knew that I used he, him pronouns as well as they, them pronouns. I felt way more comfortable with my girlfriend just talking, even though we barely ever mentioned gender. We just talk about Ninja Turtles and Sanders sides. I just felt more comfortable with myself knowing who I was. And that's something that I feel like just is ignored entirely, because people have this idea in their head that if you're trans, it means you're not happy. It means you're not happy being a girl, or you're not happy being a boy, or you're not happy with your dad, or you're not happy with your little sister who gets more attention than you. I don't care what people think I'm not happy with, because being trans isn't about being unhappy. Being trans is about being happy. It's about being comfortable. It's about loving yourself. And that's something I've struggled with a lot. But let me tell you, once I acknowledged this and said, okay, this is who I am, I felt better. So it just irks me that people want to contain being trans into this little box of dysphoria and horrible feelings and negative things. And people don't need dysphoria to be trans. They might not even need euphoria to be trans. They might just say, hey, this seems more like me. And that's great, that's good for them. If someone tells you their pronouns are he, him, but they're wearing a dress, and they're not wearing a binder, and they have long hair, use he, him pronouns. If someone tells you their label is they, them, or ze, zer, or I don't know, I'm a horrible person, I don't have, those are like the only non-binary ones I know. But if they tell you pronouns that you aren't familiar with, research it, use them for that person, of course. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope this sheds some light for you. If you have anything you want to say, like add-ons or comments, or if you want to argue with me, because that's what people on the internet do, go ahead and do it in the comments. I can't control you. If you like this video and want to see more of me and some music videos and some with my friends, go ahead and click subscribe down below or right here. And if you want to see my last video, you can go ahead and click up there. And that's about everything for today. So, hasta la pasta. I'll see you next time.